Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, double checking a few key factors. We are at 62,200, hoping for a close at 62,000 or higher to kind of give us some indication that this weekend might be a nice green weekend. We do see Bitcoin dominance kind of on the increase overall, which isn't great for altcoins, but the fact that altcoins recovered so well today and Bitcoin price is going up, it's usually going to be a favorable sign in the overall sense of things. Now, again, weekends can be weird, so just keep that in mind. Careful trading into the weekends with too many positions. I'm waiting for a couple of longs for just a slight pullback before I decide to get in. And we also have a short with SUI open right now as well. Pretty close to break even, plus or minus. We almost got filled on our second entry there. But either way you look at it, still in good shape there. For the sake of Bitcoin here, what we're going to look at is a couple of things. We looked at liquidation earlier, but I'm curious about the 12-hour and kind of see if we got a bunch of majority of that has been swept. And then we also want to look at some of these trend line here too as well, kind of see where we're at with the overall with the trend, because again, we broke through that little resistance at 61,800. Are we going to come back and retest that as a support? So this is the last 7 days of liquidation. We can see there's still a decent chunk at 62.5 and 63.1. 63.1, that's been there for a little while. So there's a solid chance we will probably see a run towards the 63K range. Bear in mind, 63,000 is that macro point of control, and we're going to probably see some resistance if the price goes back up to that level again. So just bear in mind, 63,000 might be a solid consideration for a very tight short that you watch closely, because we're probably going to see a pullback if we hit that level. Having said that, though, if we look, we're starting to see a lot more longs in the market, of course, but more shorts also entering. Once again, there's 63.1 there, about 5-6 billion at 63,100. Then there's like these weird little sections here: 63.7, 44 billion, 64,300, 4 billion, and 65.1, another a third of a billion there. So there's a lot of little areas here. Keep in mind though, at this point, it's not a guarantee the price is just going to run up because of that, but if you look here, the delta for shorts is decreasing, which is great. It really just implies that we're seeing that shift in momentum, and with the delta being lower, so to speak, it's typically a very good sign. Actually, correction, hold on, let's refresh this. This is actually a different chart. It is lower, but not as much as I originally anticipated. So we're going to be closer to about 8 billion instead of 9 billion. It's coming down, but it's not monumental, okay? So either way you look at it, we want to start seeing that tapered effect to allow for the price action to continue higher. Once a lot of liquidation gets swept here soon, which we can see a decent amount here in the 62 to 64K range, there's a solid chance that number will decrease, and in turn, we'll see the price continue higher up. So it's an interesting thing the way that all works out, but it's all that back-end data that not a lot of people pay attention to. So what we want to look at here is on the daily time frame, recognize a couple of important things. First of all, the daily time frame, we're still under the 20-day SMA. Okay, so we got kind of, I wouldn't say rejected, but it's right there at roughly about 62.6 / 63,000. Remember 62,600 with this lower range that Bitcoin was in before it had a bullish breakout, essentially of the bullish rectangle. Sorry, yes, that was a bullish rectangle. And then the price comes back down, kind of skips all together, but that previous support will likely work as a new resistance. And that's right there where the 20-day SMA is at. So 62,600 is more realistic of a resistance level for us. And you can see this point of control here as well, averaging between 63,000 and 63.5. That's somewhat of an area 2 or a resistance range. So just know we start moving up closer to 63K, more likely we are to see some resistance in the price pull back from there. So we may actually be hitting our local high here already at 62.5, because that's really close to that area too. What I want you to recognize is that we're tentatively breaking above 50 in the RSI on the daily. This is a good sign. Money flow index starting to flatten out, and we can see stochastic swinging up, with MACD also bottoming out. So these are all very, very positive signs. While we're not above these key level resistances in the 63 to 64K range as a rough estimate, we're in pretty good shape nonetheless. Okay, so again, a solid closure above 63,000 would be very important to kind of give us that indication we're mostly back on track. Okay. For right now, though, this is a very, very good start. What I anticipate happening, and this is just a very common characteristic, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's really normal for these previous resistance level here. If you can see, that's about 61,900. From earlier today, when I analyzed Bitcoin, we could see that that's, we were in a range at the time. We've since broken free from the range. What we want to see is the price action come back down, bounce off that local high, or just that new low. Okay, so we want to see the price action basically pivot off that level. It doesn't have to, but a lot of times it does, and that's usually a good consideration for a long. Again, the reason why is because we broke that resistance level. Now it should be utilized as a support. Okay, so that's just kind of it. And the reason why this happens is because when a resistance level is broken and the price spends a little time above it, people recognize, hey, that price before that didn't seem like a good value is a good value now. So now people want to get in at the previous resistance, which is essentially supposed to work as a new support. So we'll see if that happens. What we can see here as well, we're also just above 50 on the RSI on the 4 hour. We got to break above 50 on the RSI on both 4 hour and the daily. That's pending we close at 62K or higher today, but those are both very positive signs too, giving us the inclination that the price action is more likely to increase versus decrease. You do got to recognize though, stochastic is kind of letting us know that we're topped out. While MACD still has good momentum, TSI is great. We still have somewhat of a, I wouldn't say overextension, but it is, we're getting up there a little bit. I mean, we've been running for about 24 hours straight in the same direction. So a pullback would make sense. Okay. Doesn't have to be a monumental one, just something, you know, a little bit of something, essentially something along those lines, right? That's kind of what we're looking for. So me personally, it would seem sensible at this point right now that 61.8, 61.9 would be a logical consideration for a long. If we take a look here at the Ichimoku cloud on the hourly, we recognize we've broken free from the cloud. We weren't in that position earlier today. We were kind of right here, and it looked like we were going to get a cup and handle with a flag pattern, but the flag just kind of just took off, didn't even bother. So essentially that never happened, but again, the breakout is essentially what a cup and handle does. I mean, you look at this here, it's quite obvious that there was a handle and the price took off, right? Again, hindsight's 2020, it's super easy to say, but when I talked about this earlier today, that was a consideration. And at this point, with us being above the cloud, conversion line, lagging span sprinkler, there's every reason to not short and to more so consider leaning more towards taking a long here in the relative near future. Again, taking a long into the weekend, is that the greatest thing to do? Not always. But generally speaking, some weekends have good momentum. So far, today's been a pretty strong momentous day. Be very curious to see how Asian markets open up here in a couple of hours and see how the market responds to that. Pending we don't see a massive dump later today when Asia opens, I think we should be likely to see the price continue to run higher over the next 24 to 48 hours. Just know if we have a really strong green weekend, Monday or Sunday night, a couple of days from now, we could very well see a reversal. All right. Either way, we're not there yet, but just know at this point, these are mostly favorable signs and Bitcoin does appear to be on the right track, okay? So looking for a long in the 61.8 to 62K range. And just to clarify, a good take profit target would be somewhere in the range of roughly 62.6 upwards of 63.6. I'll highlight that on our playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, but again, the recent low is this guy here, that's the 62,600. And then, of course, we got the 63.6. That's like the upper range, that macro point of control. Once more, we'll go ahead and post this here for you on our socials. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks again so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment below, and all that stuff. Deeply appreciate you. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a good one. Take care.